The Pi 2-Day 2026 Ecosystem Quest just wrapped up, and the participation numbers are genuinely significant. Over 2.56 million pioneers started the quest between June 28th and July 13th, and 1.78 million completed every step to claim the special edition badge. Today, we break down what the quest covered, what those numbers tell us about Pi's community engagement, the SoloHost developer stat that deserves more attention, and the honest question of whether quest participation translates into lasting ecosystem activity. What the ecosystem quest was? The Pi 2-Day 2026 Ecosystem Quest was a structured in-app activity designed to guide pioneers through Pi's three major Pi 2-Day releases, SoloHost, Pi Sign-In, and Pi Verify, in a hands-on way. Rather than just reading announcements, the quest asked pioneers to actually interact with the new features, complete activities, answer quiz questions about the updates, and explore specific parts of the ecosystem they might not have visited before. Pioneers who completed every step received a special edition in-app badge, accessible in Pi chats and Pi social profiles, a visible, persistent marker of participation that carries social weight inside the Pi community. The quest ran from June 28th through July 13th, a 2-week window designed to give the global community enough time to participate across different time zones and schedules. The 3 quest steps: the quest walked pioneers through 3 specific activities, each tied to a Pi 2-Day release or ecosystem feature. Step 1 was exploring SoloHost apps on Pi Desktop. Pioneers learned how node operators and Pi Desktop users can discover, install, and run SoloHost applications, including local AI agents like Hermes, and how to access those apps remotely through Pi browser on mobile. This introduced a large portion of Pi's community to the concept of self-hosted AI for the first time. Step 2 was participating in ecosystem directory staking. Pioneers engaged with the refreshed ecosystem interface, learned how staking Pi behind apps works, and experienced firsthand how community staking affects app visibility and rankings. For many pioneers, this was their first interaction with Pi's on-chain staking mechanism. Step 3 was discovering vibe-coded apps, applications built using external AI tools like Cursor, Replit, and Lovable, then deployed into the Pi ecosystem through Pi App Studio. Pioneers explored these apps, staked Pi to support their rankings, and shared their favorite apps in the Vibe Code channel on Fireside Forum. Each step was designed not just as a task to complete, but as a genuine introduction to a feature that will matter in Pi's ecosystem going forward. The participation numbers. Now the numbers, and they're worth examining carefully. 2.56 million pioneers started the quest. 1.78 million completed every step. That's a completion rate of approximately 70%, unusually high for any multi-step community engagement program in any industry. For context, most app onboarding flows see dramatic drop-offs between steps. A 70% completion rate across a multi-step quest involving new technical features suggests genuine community motivation, not just passive clicking. The badge incentive clearly played a role. Visible social rewards drive completion in community-driven platforms. 1.78 million people just received hands-on exposure to SoloHost, ecosystem directory staking, and vibe-coded apps features that are central to Pi's ecosystem strategy going forward. That's a meaningful foundation of community familiarity being built. The SoloHost developer stat, buried in the quest recap, is a number that deserves its own spotlight. Since SoloHost launched in early beta on Pi 2-Day, community developers have already deployed 110 apps through the framework. Not Pi's core team community developers. 110 apps reaching 420,000 plus node operators in early beta. This is significant for several reasons. SoloHost was described at launch as an open, permissionless publisher flow, meaning any developer with a Pi account can build and submit an app without a traditional review pipeline. The 110 apps in early beta suggest that permissionless design is working as intended. Developers are showing up without being explicitly invited or incentivized by Pi directly. The categories emerging in SoloHost include local AI agents, node utilities, and compute-focused tools exactly the use cases Pi described as the framework's purpose. Early developer interest is aligning with the platform's design intent, which is a positive signal. What the Quest numbers actually mean. Here's the honest interpretation of 1.78 million Quest completions. It tells us that Pi's community is large, engaged, and motivated to participate in structured activities, especially when there's a visible social reward involved. It tells us that the Quest format works as an education and onboarding mechanism. And it tells us that millions of pioneers now have at least surface-level familiarity with SoloHost, ecosystem staking, and vibe-coded apps. What it doesn't tell us is how many of those 1.78 million pioneers will continue using these features after the Quest ended. Badge incentives drive completion. They don't necessarily drive sustained behavior change. The real metric that matters are monthly active users of SoloHost, staking activity in the ecosystem directory, and developer submissions measured weeks and months after the Quest closed. Pi hasn't published those numbers yet. That's the data worth watching. Pi 2 Day 2026 and the Ecosystem Quest represent Pi's most coordinated community education effort to date. 3 major product releases, a structured quest that reached 2.56 million pioneers, 110 community-built SoloHost apps in beta, and a 70% Quest completion rate. These are real, measurable outputs. The challenge ahead is the same one Pi has always faced: converting community engagement into sustained utility and external adoption. The infrastructure is increasingly real. The community is demonstrably active. Whether external businesses adopt Pi Verify, whether developers keep building on SoloHost, and whether pioneers keep staking and using apps after the Quest incentive is gone, those are the questions that 2026's second half will answer. 1.78 million completions, 110 SoloHost apps in early beta, 3 major Pi Today releases now in the hands of Pi's community. The ecosystem quest is over, but the features it introduced are just getting started. Did you complete the quest and claim your badge? And have you tried any of the SoloHost apps yet? Drop your experience in the comments and subscribe for continued Pi ecosystem coverage.